The Decapolis was a group of 10 cities on the eastern frontier of the Roman Empire in the southeastern Levant. The cities were grouped together because of their language, culture, location, and political status, with each functioning as an autonomous city-state. Though sometimes described as a league of cities, it is now believed that they were never formally organized as a political unit. The Decapolis was a center of Greek and Roman culture in a region that was otherwise Semitic. In the time of the Emperor Trajan, the cities were placed into the provinces of Syria and Arabia Petraea. After a later reorganization, several cities were placed in Syria Palestina, and later Palestina Secunda. Most of the Decapolis region is located in modern-day Jordan, but Damascus is in Syria and Hippos and Scythopolis are in Israel. Cities. The names of the traditional 10 cities of the Decapolis come from the Roman historian Pliny the Elder. There, Gerasa in Jordan, Scythopolis in Israel, the only city west of the Jordan River, Hippos in Israel, Gadara in Jordan, Pella in Jordan, Philadelphia, modern-day Amman, the capital of Jordan, Capitolias, also Dion, today Beit Ras in Jordan, Canatha in Syria, Raphana in Jordan, Damascus, the capital of modern Syria. Damascus was more north than the others and so is sometimes thought to have been an honorary member. According to other sources, there may have been as many as 18 or 19 Greco-Roman cities counted as part of the Decapolis. For example, Obila is very often cited as belonging to the group. Hellenistic era. Except for Damascus, the Decapolis cities were by and large founded during the Hellenistic period, between the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC and the Roman conquest of Coal Syria, including Judea in 63 BC. Some were established under the Ptolemaic dynasty which ruled Judea until 198 BC. Others were founded later, when the Seleucid dynasty ruled the region. Some of the cities included Antiochia, or Seleucia, in their official names, which attest to Seleucid origins. The cities were Greek from their founding, modeling themselves on the Greek polis. The Decapolis was a region where two cultures interacted: the culture of the Greek colonists and the indigenous Semitic culture. There was some conflict. The Greek inhabitants were shocked by the Semitic practice of circumcision, while various elements of Semitic descent towards the dominant and assimilative nature of Hellenic civilization culminated gradually in the face of assimilation. At the same time, there was also some cultural blending and borrowing in the Decapolis region. The cities acted as centers for the diffusion of Greek culture. Some local deities began to be called by the name Zeus, from the chief Greek god. Meanwhile, in some cities Greeks began worshipping these local Zeus deities alongside their own Zeus Olympios. There is evidence that the colonists adopted the worship of other Semitic gods, including Phoenician deities and the chief Nabatean god, Doshera. The worship of these Semitic gods is attested to in coins and inscriptions from the cities. During Hellenistic times, the cities were clearly distinct from the surrounding region by their practice of Greek culture. Josephus names several of them in a list of Gentile cities in Judea before the Roman conquest. The term Decapolis may have already been used to identify these cities during the Hellenistic period. The term, however, is mostly associated with the period after the Roman conquest in 63 BC. The Roman general Pompey conquered Judea in that year. The people of the Decapolis cities welcomed Pompey as a liberator from the Jewish Hasmonean kingdom that had ruled much of the area. For centuries the cities based their calendar era on this conquest. 63 BC was the epochal year of the Pompeian era, used to count the years throughout the Roman and Byzantine periods. It is from this time that historians identify the region and the cities with the term Decapolis, Roman Decapolis. The Roman government wanted Roman culture to flourish in the farthest reaches of the empire, which at the time included eastern Palestine. So they encouraged the growth of these 10 cities, allowing them some political autonomy within the protective sphere of Rome. Each city functioned as a polis or city-state, with jurisdiction over an area of the surrounding countryside. Each city also minted its own coins. Many coins from Decapolis cities identify their city as autonomous, free, sovereign, or sacred, terms that imply some sort of self-governing status. The Romans strongly left their cultural stamp on all of the cities. Each one was eventually rebuilt with a Roman-style grid of streets based around the central Cardo or Decumanus. The Romans sponsored and built numerous temples and other public buildings. The Imperial Cult, the worship of the Roman Emperor, was a very common practice throughout the Decapolis and was one of the features that linked the different cities. A small open-air temple or facade, called a calibi, was unique to the region. The cities may also have enjoyed strong commercial ties, fostered by a network of new Roman roads. This has led to their common identification today as a federation, or league. The Decapolis was probably never an official political or economic union. Most likely it signified the collection of city-states that enjoyed special autonomy during early Roman rule. The New Testament Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke mention that the Decapolis region was a location of the ministry of Jesus. The Decapolis was one of the few regions where Jesus traveled in which Gentiles were in the majority. Most of Jesus' ministry focused on teaching to Jews. Mark chapter 5 verses 1 to 10 emphasizes the Decapolis a Gentile character when Jesus encounters a herd of pigs, an animal forbidden by kashrut, the Jewish dietary laws. The Decapolis cities after Trajan. In addition, the cities were grouped into different Roman provinces: Syria, Palestine, Secunda, and Arabia. The cities continued to be distinguished for example by their use of the Pompeian calendar. The Roman and Byzantine Decapolis region was influenced and gradually taken over by Christianity. Some cities were more receptive than others to the new religion. Pella was a base for some of the earliest church leaders. In other cities, paganism persisted long into the Byzantine era. Eventually, however, the region became almost entirely Christian, and most of the cities served as seats of bishops. Most of the cities continued into the late Roman and Byzantine periods. Some were abandoned in the years following Palestine's conquest by the Umayyad Caliphate in 641. But other cities continued to be inhabited long into the Islamic period. Evolution and excavation. Jerash and Bet-Shean survive as towns today. Damascus has never lost its prominent role throughout later history. Philadelphia was long abandoned, but was revived in the 19th century and has become the capital city of Jordan, Amman. 20th century archaeology has identified most of the other cities, and most have undergone or are undergoing considerable excavation.